Again, we're back with another episode of Beat and Verse. How y'all brothers doing today?
Doing good.
Well?
Yeah, doing good.
Cool. I know it's been a while since we taped, but a lot of topics have been coming up, and because we, as usual, we don't want to overrun an episode. I want to probably tackle a topic today. Let me know if y'all are good with it. It's a hot topic that's been buzzing for a minute. But before we get into that, what's on your mind?
Not much. I mean, a lot of stuff happening in the world today. So definitely with hip hop, between the violence and then the anti-Semitism, but supposed anti-Semitism
right.
in hip hop. So there's a lot of things happening in the world right now.
Got you.
Nick Cannon, I'll reserve my judgment, but his apology and, I looked at the interview with Rabbi Abraham Cooper and Nick Cannon. Very interesting interview. I think Nick Cannon should have had someone from the Israelite community there.
Right.
And when I mean the Israelite community, I mean people that are going to sit down, leaders that are going to sit down and have a intellectual dialogue.
Right.
With Rabbi Abraham Cooper about some of the things that Mr. Cannon put out there. But, that's a topic for another day. Definitely. And that's what's on my mind. Benjamin made me look at the interview, although he didn't look at it yet. But I looked at almost hour and almost 2 hours of it.
Oh, so you don't watch the whole thing then?
Oh, wow.
There's only 2 parts.
The first one is 4 hours.
No, the first part is like an hour and
I saw 4
something
hours.
minutes. Nah, you looked wrong.
Oh, wow.
Hour and 19 minutes or something like that.
That's
almost
a long
30-something minutes.
It's a long interview, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one topic we definitely wanted to cover, we're probably going to cover this week, but some other things came up we probably want to get into. It's hip hop and homicide. Seeing that, whoa. Yeah, it's raining out there, storming out there. That's why you hear that noise. Megan Thee Stallion got shot. And supposedly Tory Lanez was the one that did it. The reason why it's just on my mind is that, even in the best situations, them coming from a party with a Kardashian party or something like that, they said, there's still a lot of immaturity with guns. You know what I mean? Like, she got shot in the foot. Some people said by a process of elimination, he was the only person that did it. He has to come out and confess. I don't know if he got locked up for it or anything of that nature as of yet.
Not for the shooting, just for the concealed weapon.
Concealed weapon for the gun. But, and maybe it's a thing where nobody's going to say anything and press charges, what have you.
Nobody's cooperating, so that's... The police can only get him for the weapon, but nobody's cooperating. Everybody in the vehicle is keeping quiet in terms of what took place in the vehicle, so the police can't really go too much further than that.
Yeah. So, and I know this is not his first, issue, right? Supposedly. So,
Perhaps maybe it was playing with guns. Not playing, but sometimes you've heard of people sometimes mistakenly or just don't know how to handle a weapon and shoot people accidentally.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
That I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It seems there's still some level of immaturity there. Whether he deliberately shot or was an accident, right. I think it has to come to a point where we become more responsible. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a weapon, right? My whole thing is just the responsibility of dealing with it. That's not something that you touch when you're drunk and, and you're high and you're coming from a party and things, Like, there's just, it's real. Those things kill people. They hurt people. And, if you feel that you're always in a point where you need one, you should learn. I mean, I don't know whether he goes and takes classes and goes to the range and learn gun safety, but I think there should be a point, because I remember Plaxico Barris when it shot itself with a handgun. That was years ago, but it was just people they just have guns and they don't know the responsibility that comes with those guns. So I think that this needs to be a turning point. So, but that's what's on my mind.
What part of the country is he from?
He's not from the country. He's from Canada.
Yeah, forget it.
Oh, he's from Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Canadians
He's
are
walking
not
around with a gun in the United States.
Yeah. So I think he has dual citizenship. But
Oh, okay. So if he has dual citizenship, what part of the country does he have his dual citizenship?
don't know. I don't know what state he's in.
Because people, only reason why I'm asking, because people that tend to be from the South tend to know,
The rules.
the rules
Right.
of weapons, and because they around them more, and it's some states are open carry states, and you could carry concealed weapons, and they've been used to shooting weapons from when they was young, so they understand. I mean, not saying that they don't use it irresponsibly or they're responsible with it, but they handle it a little bit better, and they're used to carrying weapons.
Right.
So maybe whatever state he come from, he was raised up in, maybe he was used to carrying a weapon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's
Because he's from Canada, I believe Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah.
That's why it's a whole different story. But him and Drake had beef for a while. Both of them from
Yeah.
Toronto. I mean, they've been squashed that, but that's one of the things. But yeah, they both from Toronto, but because of his career, he's here a lot.
Right.
Right.
And it's not like a country where it's bordering the U.S., so he could always just come over easily without any hassle, as opposed to like somebody from another country need visas and
Right.
all the other stuff. So he could just come here and just hang out.
Got
basically,
you.
and just
But
go
if he
back.
doesn't have dual citizenship, he's deported.
Right.
Well, it's Canada, so it's still because of that friendliness. I mean, technically, yeah, you could get deported, but because of that friendliness between the U.S. and Canada, things can be
arranged.
Yeah, it's a little bit different
Right.
with Canada and the U.S.
But this incident did happen in California.
California, yeah.
Right. So
Mm.
that's what it is. So to the topic. Did I know you got a chance to see the Will and Jada Red Table Talk. Did you get a chance to look at that?
I didn't watch the full video. I've seen.
You seen enough though.
I've seen the major part of the video.
Gotcha.
The major.
I couldn't stand to sit there and watch him
I saw the major part of the video.
turn into powder.
Well, let me say this in Will's.
Did you watch it?
I saw the whole thing.
So you talk to us.
I saw the whole thing, and I saw every meme.
That was made off.
Every made off of it. Every Jamaican voiceover.
And the Haitian one.
The Haitian. I saw them all, and you know what?
Did you see my meme that I put up?
Yes, I saw the Menace to Society meme as well. And those are the ones that has been coming out like this week, the Menace to Society ones. And it's funny that happened during that, when Menace to Society was 94, 93?
93,
93.
about 93, yeah.
And that this is happening now. But I wanted to get, you guys' take on, because I don't want to make this, because oftentimes they make this a gender thing, and it's not about gender. I think it's about marital responsibility, and the fact that Will is a hip hop icon.
Right.
And essence Jada is too. She may not be an MC, but she's been friends with Tupac. She's been part of the culture, what have you. Their kids, part of the culture. Is there an issue or a perceived issue with how a lot of people, celebrities especially, are managing their families and managing their relationships? Or do they think that way of managing their relationships is somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it sustainable? Is that pattern of behavior sustainable? You know, because I think a lot of times when people are in your marriage, this is my personal opinion, your marriage can't last because you have too many other influences in your relationship. But sometimes people think that tends to be okay, inviting everybody over, and this is going on. So, and you know, referring to the person, the outside, I don't want to say an agitator because it wasn't. I don't think it was agitation in my opinion.
Right.
August Alsina was brought in some way, shape, or form to in a relationship with Jada, but how it went down didn't seem to, in my opinion, based on what I saw, it didn't seem to sit too well with Will. Right? Whatever happened,
Right.
whether he said yes to it prior and then he reneged later on,
Right.
you can obviously see everybody that analyzed it, every psychologist, psychiatrist that looked at it, saw the obvious tensions in that talk. So just in y'all's opinion, you know, do you think that behavior is safe? Like for them to really want to have a marriage, is that safe behavior?
Well, they don't. Well, it's been speculated for years that they've had a open
Right.
marriage.
Right.
That's
never came out and said it.
Right, they
but
never said it, but it's been
that's the word of the street.
Right, everybody knew that they have open marriage.
Right.
And basically, both of this situation, what they're saying is that at the time they were split.
Right.
Anyway, so that's why they had no intention of getting back together at that point.
Right.
But this particular incident took place. But then they have this other thing that I think this was part of this video. Oh yes, it was part of that video where they said that they're life partners.
Right.
So they don't look at themselves, you know, they're legally married, of course, but they don't look at themselves as married. They just look at themselves as life partners.
Right.
To where either side can do whatever they want to.
Right.
But they won't get so upset to break off.
Right.
They just understand, they determine that they understand they have a bad marriage.
Right.
But they're just willing to stay together just for the sake of staying together.
Please go. Yes. Say something.
I think morally it's just off.
Right.
You have your son's friend who he brought to the house.
Right.
I mean, you have to take all those things into consideration because he was the son's friend, from what I understand. So now you think about your mother smashing your friend, your boy that you brought home. Now that goes to another level.
Right.
Right? It's people don't, they don't want to talk about, they want to talk about it was a split, whatever. It was her son's friend.
Right.
And she went ahead and did that, and but he's a young dude. So what do you think a young dude is gonna do? And they say he has psychological problems, so he was going through something. No excuses. It's immoral, and she was being selfish. Now I don't know what they have in their marriage. I'm not going to speculate. People did say that they had like an open marriage and they could do what they want to do, but that's just on the point that was your son's friend. You should have had enough discretion as to not take a step that way. It was just totally wrong in my opinion. Besides all the other stuff, because of course I look at things differently, but living in this world, people look at things another way.
Right.
But just on that point, I would say that one of the many violations, and I'll leave it at that.
So I don't even want to touch the morality issue, but I find it weird that people do these things believing that it's sustainable, like there's a way that we can make this work with having all of this stuff going on, right? And it doesn't work. I'm not saying that all marriages are perfect. I'm not saying monogamy's perfect, polygyny's perfect, polygamy's perfect, or open marriages. I'm not saying any of that stuff is perfect. But obviously there's something wrong with the picture. If this is happening, and I just saw Will hurt. It seemed like his eyes was red, and he was trying to push the envelope with trying to get her to confess about what happened. And I did some research on August Alsina, and he had a rough go. He went through a lot of stuff. He was going through a lot of stuff. You can tell psychologically why he was off, because he was still dealing with a lot of him not dealing with his mother. He has a bad relationship with his mother. His father got killed. Brother got killed. Sister-in-law got killed. And he's going through a lot of ailments. Like he went blind at one time. He had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. And I think
at one point he was homeless at one point.
Homeless.
Yeah. Before he became famous.
Yeah, and all of that stuff is affecting him psychologically, right? And the industry is not the best. Let me say, not even the best. It's not good at dealing with people's humanity, right? Dealing with the average thing that goes on in a person's life. And from what he's saying, he's looking at them as, he needed help. They were there to give him help. And from what Jada is initially saying, and Jada and Willie, they were willing to help him, right? But to get in a relationship with a person that's in that level of struggle is not good for them mentally, right? It's not good for them, because now they're in an emotional situation, and then they're being cut off from that emotional situation. And let's be honest, I don't think as a family they may be the best people suited to work with him in that capacity, because look what happened, right? She got into what she described as an entanglement. And the word entanglement has a root word, tangle. Tangle is an unwanted knot, right? You can't call it an entanglement because it was something that you chose to do. You went inside of it fully knowing that this is where I am, this is what I want, and you didn't trip over this and wind up being in a relationship. It's something that you as a grown woman decided to do. And I think that is where the lines get drawn with people, is that, she got the right to do that, whatever the case may be, but she doesn't have the right to take advantage of anybody. That's wrong. She doesn't have the right to hurt people's feelings in the process, because I think oftentimes we're not considering that there's other people in play. Her family's in play. There's other things. I mean, maybe a family's good with it, maybe a family wasn't, but you have to take all of that in consideration. And what I did find, a lot of people, I heard a lot of the people that did an analysis of it, according to the body language, according to just psychologists that looked at it, even Charlamagne the God, she came across very narcissistic, because she was concerned. She said something to the nature of, I haven't felt good in so long, right? But what about everybody else? What about the brother that you're messing with that psychologically needs, some professional help? What about your husband? What about your family? Like, you really see the premises on her. She even started off saying that because some people's feelings are hurt. Like, this is like the reason why she's doing this. I'm like, what? You saying some? You talking about your life partner? Like his feelings don't matter. And maybe he did things to hurt her. Maybe that's part of the nature of what's going on, is that, they have a lot of mess happening with them. You know what I mean? And this is what people are analyzing. And part of the discussion is all of this something that we need to grow out of? The basketball wives, the Atlanta housewives, all of this. You know what I mean? All of this messy stuff that we see. Is it the best training of our minds towards us trying to get back to the idea of marriage? Because everybody can do what they want to do, but if you want a family that's sustainable, I'm not saying that you can't have all the crazy stuff that you want to have. This America, you can do what you want to do. But if you want a family that's sustainable, right, that y'all can be together, build wealth, build empire. Are those means the best route? I mean, are we looking at that as something that we can, you know, use as a template or an example? Because the fact that they said at the end, you know, bad marriage for life, that wasn't cute. That wasn't cool. Like, you know, the essence is to fix what's going wrong. And to me, it's just my humble opinion, you know, y'all are sitting there in failure. Like, you know, your marriage is failing, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Then why be together? Is it about divorce? Is it about the check? Is it about, like, what is it about? What's the real deal? You know? Just my opinion, but what are your guys' take on that whole process, though?
I mean, coupling it with everything that you already mentioned on the shows and on TV, it's definitely not. These are not good examples for our people to be watching, looking up to these people,
right?
And seeing, like we said, all the mess, you know, bad relationships, bad marriages, etc. You know, it's definitely not good. Celebrities can maintain that because, you know, they go into a field where you have to cut off your feelings to a lot of things because you're dealing with sharks on various levels, socially, financially. So as a celebrity, as an entertainer, you know, you sort of cut your feelings off anyway. And then you have the means financially to move from one situation to another one anyway. But the average person watching those relationships don't have those means. Because they get emotionally attached to relationships and they don't have the finance to just say, well, I can just pick up and go somewhere else. So those, like you said, those templates are not good for people that cannot sustain that type of lifestyle. But overall, they're not morally good anyway. But a celebrity or an entertainer could sort of maneuver better than the average person that doesn't have the means.
Question to both of you. Do you think that just, because it seems like I doubt it's just a trend with them. You know, we're looking at them, but obviously there's a lot of things going on. Is it that Hollywood or the industries, the music industry, the acting industry, are these places that can sustain marriage? Or, you know, if you're in here as a celebrity, can you really feel that you can have a wife or have a husband and build a positive relationship there without all of the mess?
I think when the two people are mega celebrities, I think it's almost like it's failure. It's almost like failure written in it.
Interesting.
But if you have a person that's the celebrity and the other person that's not the celebrity, I think those tend to last a little bit longer.
Gotcha.
Now you do have some marriages that last, you know, a long time. I know John Travolta's wife just died.
Right.
They were married for like 20-something years.
Plus some time, right?
I believe what's his name, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. They're not married.
Yeah, but
they got. I think they have children. Right. They might have a daughter or something like that. But they've been a couple for. We would consider that a marriage. Right. They're together. You know? So there are some success stories, but I think that when you are like Ben Affleck, not Ben Affleck. What's the guy's name? And Angelina Jolie. Brad Pitt and Angelina. You know, you seen it just going, and you know, and then it got to be too much, and then everything came out, and they broke up. So, because they were two big, mega stars, I think that always puts something in there, and then you are way in some Sandro Page shooting a movie. Your wife is over there with the leading man, and she's working with him every day, and you know, like it's almost doomed for failure. Right. You know, your husband is over here it's almost doomed for failure. It's like then you shooting these scenes, and
interesting.
You know, that's my take on that. I think that a lot of those marriages are. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are doomed for failure. it's hard to sustain a lifestyle like that and still be. And then if someone doesn't understand the business that you're going to be gone for most of the year, then that could turn into being something also totally different.
Interesting. So there's another side I want to take to it, because Hollywood is Hollywood, but then you have Black Hollywood, right? And you know, sometimes culture, and especially in hip hop culture, there's a lot of misogyny. There's a lot of sexual exploitation. There's men that exploit the women, and more so the women that exploit themselves. And then you hear sometimes women say derogatory, negative things about the guys, but it's never like it is in reverse. I mean, the responsibility of being what we call sexual freedom, and then after those experiences, you want to turn around and try to do something wholesome. Is it practical, right? Is it practical to, oh, I'm gonna live a lifestyle while I'm wilding out, I'm having orgies, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but then I'm gonna come down to earth and get a wife and try to start a family, you know? And I'm not saying it's not. I think sometimes people they mature out of certain things. They understand, okay, I did that in my life and I want to just try to do better. But then there's people that don't, and they do, like, they revert back to certain ways, or instead of now, I instead of me doing that on my own, now I'm doing it with my wife. I'm involving my wife with that. I remember watching an interview with Jada, I believe his name is, the rap artist, the brother that's the Classic Man. Yeah. And he talked about, I think he was on the Breakfast Club, and he was talking about how he was in some type of plural.
That's the red dude?
Yeah. He was in some type of plural relationship. Wasn't a marriage, but it was an open thing where he was with a woman that was allowed to have other boyfriends or whatever. How they had their relationship, but they arranged the relationship, you know. And I think, you know, he said he's against the polygamy because him being, you know, I think his father is Igbo or Yoruba or whatever. I think it's Igbo. Polygyny. Father, I think his father, his grandfather had more than one wife, whatever the case may be. You know, there was something he observed that it seemed that it wasn't working or whatever, or it wasn't something that made them happy. But then he talked about that, and I think it got to a point where he just said, like, he tried it, but there's still some issues with him doing that and still feeling away if she's going to see the other guy. You know what I mean? But it's stuff that you agree to. So I don't know. There's people that they have this conversation about monogamy, and is monogamy in our blood, or is it right to have a man to have multiple wives? But at the same time, all of these things that people are trying, they don't seem to work either, right? So is there a grounding? Should there be something that for us to understand who we are first before we get into any relationship, and especially before you get into the industry? Because it seems that, you know, a lot of people say it. I'm just going to repeat it. The industries, especially the music industry and Hollywood, they turn you out. Right? They turn you out. They turn you into something that's a little bit different. And this is not to take away from what you want to do, but is it sustainable? Right? Is it sustainable for your psychologically? Is it sustainable for you emotionally? Right? Because there's a lot of stuff going on with people doing drugs, and, you know, how relationships go sour. Can you maintain your sanity in all of that chaos? To me, I don't think you could. But
people like, you know, part of what you said earlier about people maturing out of certain situations.
Right.
Part of mega stars not being able to work out is because they live the lifestyle, like they get turned out by the industry, whatever industry they're in, on their way up. So it's hard for some of them to come back down and just be level-headed.
Right.
And I think that's probably why a lot of the push out there, like all of the wild type of shows that we see in the hip hop, the love of hip hop, that's what's being pushed out there. But we just need to focus, or when I say we don't have that much control, but just as a community, focus on some of the positive role models that are out there.
Right.
I do. Even I mentioned this couple. They still have a little tinge of mess with them, but I actually applaud Offset and Cardi B for what they're able to go through in their marriage as hip hop artists. Right. The fact that where both of them came from.
Is it? I'm gonna say this.
I think that's too recent of a situation.
No, I know.
I'm saying it's we know where both of them came from.
Exactly.
They came together, and they still they had the tinge of the mess in there, but the fact that they were still worked through that rough patch. Right. He did what he had to do to make sure that he kept her. Right. And then they're able to show that two black people can get together, get married, raise a family, still be artists.
I'm laughing because I think that it's sad, but I'm just going to be honest. I think that too many people are watching for the downfall of that relationship. Well, when is it going to happen? Just, and that's a shame.
Almost already happened.
Right. It's just a shame that we look at certain things now with an expectation of failure. Right. And especially when it comes to younger people or celebrities or certain people getting together, we look at what I saw with Jada and Will. To me, that's failed. To me, that's failed. That means that people that look up to you as a power couple, that whatever mess is happening with that is not working, and Jay-Z and Beyonce, I look at that as a successful marriage, and this is the reason why. There's a lot that I've heard, a lot that we actually saw when that whole attack happened with Jay-Z and Solange and all of that stuff happened, and the reasons behind it supposedly, and a lot of admission from Jay-Z that he had to mature, he had to understand how this is supposed to work and understand himself, and his past shouldn't dictate his future and different things of that nature. I think they are trying to get together and grow their empire, right? And I think they understand that the empire, the kids, all of that stuff is important. Whether he sneaks out and does whatever, I don't know, but it shouldn't be something that we see played out in front of us. Certain things, for the sake of its existence, should remain sacred. It should be out of the public eye. But I just look at that as successful. I'm not saying that Offset and Cardi B is not. And I applaud them for doing as much as they can to hang on. But I think that there is a chance that if we just rewire our thinking concerning certain things, you can probably be in an industry. If you want to be in an industry and survive, you can be in an industry. I mean, I remember I was just watching something where Bun B said that he was on, he's on a track, one of Beyonce's tracks, and they were shooting a video. And, Bun B, rappers travel with their entourages and their crew, whatever it can be. So all of them was up there. And, Jay, they she had on a skirt, whatever. I said that we said we were looking at her, but he said we weren't looking at her like, I mean, she's fine. That's his woman, but we wasn't gawking too much. We were like, wow, she's Beyonce. Look at how she dancing. Da, 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 da. So he had called down there, right? And this is what I respect about Jay, because if you have something precious, you got to protect it. He's like, yo, yeah, is B there? Boom, boom. He said, yeah, he's there. He said, how many people is there? He said, nah, it's about 9 dudes here. I said, word? He said, he said his wife, is she there? Da, da, da. He said, yeah, she's doing whatever. He said, what she got on? And they described what she got on. He said, yo, they got to bounce. And they bounced, right? He said, she had came into the room, apologized, and then he explained, you got to protect that. And maybe that's a New York mentality, that's a Brooklyn thing, that it's like, okay, regardless of what I do, mine, if that's mine, that's mine. I'm not gonna, I don't care how she look. That's like, I'm not gonna have her out there, whatever. And to me, you may look at that as him being somewhat chauvinist, whatever, but sometimes the mentality of, especially when you come up in the streets, you protect what's yours. If it's your boy, it's your friend, it's your money. If it's your woman, if that's yours and you value it, you know, because there's times where I know that he probably had women that, hey, you know, I'm not with her no more. This is what it is. But if you value her, then you take a different approach with dealing with her, you know. But back to Jada and Will, you know, as I said, I think that, I'm proud of what Will was able to accomplish in his career. You know, I think he just, made a good transition from rapping to acting. And I think he's a hell of an actor. I think he's one of the best actors out there. And, I think just the whole aspect of having their family on display. And this is not to even take away from Jada and what she was able to accomplish in her career. But
what did she accomplish?
Wow. I should say she was always an actress.
Yeah, that's
she has
her
a
claim to fame.
Right. She has
But what has she done? Like, I seen her in a movie. Yeah, I seen her in a movie lately. What was that movie?
That was Angel Has Fallen.
Right. She was
she got
FBI
agent. She got shot.
I mean, what we remember her is for classic hood movies.
Right.
Classic hood movies. Menace to Society.
Woo.
Right.
Set It Off.
Right.
So I think she's made her mark.
I mean, she made her mark, but
she's not her husband. It's not taking away from her in any way, shape, or form. But I think Will just, the way he hones his craft is a little bit different. Right? She just think is a hell of an actor. He was in Ali. Well, she was in Ali as well. Couple. Do you think these things make they destroy the dynasty? Because I think he has the majority of the largest of the money, but he got son that is trying to build his career. I don't know where his daughter's at now, but I think he was trying to build something with them as well. But I think they were just trying to build like their personal empire, And even with her Red Table Talk, I think it's still a powerful medium to get across to people. But do you think that this is like, now people won't see them the same? Everything else before was speculation. Because, we heard this here and there, whatever, but we had no evidence, right? But this is an obvious issue. Do you think that their empire has fallen?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about Black Hollywood, I agree with Jay and Beyonce. I think that's successful. They went through their rocky times, but they've been together long. I mean, they've been together
for a while now, yeah.
For like over 15 years, I believe.
Right.
They've been together, if I'm not mistaken. But before they got married, they were together. Right. So that's pretty solid and successful. And I think Jay, is mature. You can see like he's on a different level right now. A relationship that, well, I've heard them say it, Monique and her husband, that they have an open relationship, an open marriage. Right. So now when we start getting to things like that,
right,
that destroys the fabric of what marriage is supposed to be, and what in black communities we need to see more.
Right.
Which is an authentic marriage, not this Hollywood, drama type of marriage that other folks live.
Right.
I believe that if you're a black actor, if you're a black singer, that you should be an example.
Right.
That you should be a good example for those who come up behind you and for those who are trying to achieve. Denzel been married with his wife for years.
For years.
I believe Samuel Jackson been married with his wife for years.
Yes.
Those are good. Now, like you said, we don't know what's happened, but that's never come out.
Exactly.
It's never been out there. It's never been, something that's
Right.
been a scandal. I think Will and Jada going through what they going through is definitely a black eye
Right.
on iconic couple
Right.
that regardless of the rumors that we heard, there were never.
Right.
You couldn't put solidify that and say
Right.
that happened.
Right.
But now with this,
It's out there.
yeah, because the guy said that he gave him his blessing.
Right.
So now we have to look at it from that angle. Do we believe he's lying when he said that?
Right.
That Will gave him his blessing? Right? So are we going to feel sorry for Will?
Right.
And the guy is saying Will gave him his blessing?
Interesting.
So those are all the things we got to think of. It's definitely a black eye. I was disappointed. I'm still disappointed. And I believe that you can never look at that the same again.
Right.
Never look at that the same.
The only problem with what you just said in terms of the worldview is it takes a certain mature eye to really see it like that. Whereas most of the world, what I'm seeing on social media, people that I don't know personally, that people I know personally, is that actually people are upset with August. I'm talking about people older than us. They're upset with him because they're
How could
like,
they be upset with him? She's old enough to be his mother.
they're saying we live in an era of side piece. And in this era of side piece, you're supposed to keep your mouth shut. So a lot of people are upset with him for actually bringing it out.
I get where
You know
you're
what I'm
going with that.
saying?
Yeah.
Right, so
your
statement is very mature, but
right.
I can see the
that's
backlash
part of
that
the
statement.
issue.
Right. Because
He was psychologically unfit,
right.
and she knew that. Whether I'm not. Part of the issue is people like, oh, she's a cheeky woman. She do what she want to do, and he cheated first, whatever the case may be. He was psychologically. This is what's happening because he's psychologically unfit to deal with something. He was already emotional, psychological wreck, and then you brought more drama into it. So, and I hear that part.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what a lot of people.
Yeah.
You hear more of that than like what Uzziel just said in terms of just the actual moral standpoint of things. People like so. All it takes is for Will to do one good movie, Jada to continue doing red table talk, and everybody's gonna forget about that.
Right.
I mean, in essence,
Yeah, we get that.
yeah, my mind is compartmentalized regarding his career, red table talk, and their relationship now. But if I see them on a runway together, it's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same.
It's going to be, if I see the family taking a picture or whatever,
It's going to look fake.
it's going to look unreal.
Right.
Everything that you saw there, you can tell that there was something that was obviously upset. If he has to go and say, tell him what happened, Jada, tell him well, I got into an entanglement. Entanglement meaning, like, he had to bring it out. Relationship? And she said, yeah, relationship. And the reason why is because I is like, okay, regardless of what happened, this is not the time for justification, right? Whatever y'all agreed to, a party's upset in a situation, that means something didn't go right? And the very fact that you're up here talking about it means that you kind of know that this thing didn't go right, but you're still trying to defend your action. Like, he called it a transgression. She says, I don't think it was a transgression. So obviously there wasn't a blessing in that process. I'm not saying he's a liar. Yeah, in his mind, the blessing that he gave wasn't for that.
I didn't hear it, but August apparently made a diss track to Will. I didn't hear it yet though.
What?
As a side note, but
This is like recently?
2 days ago. It was recent, but as a side note.
So that's what I'm saying. He's not that tight anyway. If he's doing that, like, why we could just track towards Will?
And Will is an actor. I mean,
Right.
for all I know, sitting down at that table crying,
Right.
actors know how to pull up tears and
Yeah, but there were people that were analyzing his body language, and there were things that he was doing.
like felt like he wanted to leap across the table.
Exactly. They showed defensive things that he was doing with his hand. He pulled up his sleeve. Like, they just showed his body language.
Who was that? Like FBI?
No, there's people that they study this for a living, right? They study to see whether you are in defense mode, whether you're angry when you're talking. There were certain things that Jada was doing. Like, sometimes they were saying certain statements and they weren't looking each other in the eye, or she wasn't looking them in the eye. So there's certain statements that they were making, they were analyzing that, you know, you can tell that he was visibly upset about certain things. He talked to his teeth a couple of times, you know, mad, and they said that sometimes he says some stuff where he was pulling back some of the words he was trying to say because they wasn't going to come out too right. It was all types of stuff that people are analyzing, and they did it more than once. It's like, it's not people that conspired to say that, okay, we're all going to come together and say the same thing. Everybody that did it, regardless of what, they're analyzing the same issue. So, to me, it didn't sit well.
To me, I'm gonna tell you, from the few clips that I saw, it seemed like she's the alpha in the relationship. Now I could be wrong because I've just seen a few clips. I didn't see the entire. How long was it? Like a 30-minute talk?
It wasn't even 30 minutes. I think it was close to probably 30 minutes, like something like either 17 or I forgot, but it wasn't that long. Her table talks are usually much longer than that, but they addressed the issue and it went off. But I didn't get alpha from her. I got brat.
That's what you got.
I got brat. I got like because he felt like he was going to do, because he started saying stuff like, I'm gonna get you back, and my mind, I'm like, why would you say that? Right? Even because that's not even something that you joke with, because y'all are in a serious situation right now. Right. Like you're trying to address. You broke up. She had a relationship during the breakup, right?
Right.
With y'all, whatever. So I'm not even saying that it's so much infidelity to that extent, but whatever happened, feelings were involved, and it didn't go. That wasn't agreed upon process, or whatever happened. He's hurt by it, or he has feelings behind it. Right. You know what I mean? And it didn't. The expectation wasn't for him to say that. That's not even like, I wouldn't joke and say something like that. Like, you know, but I'm gonna get you back. And she said, you got me back a couple of times already. I don't think I think it's about getting nobody back. So he's like, well, that's true. So, you know,
that was also him taking blame.
Right. It seemed like he was taking blame, but at the same time, like, you know, it didn't make sense for him just to say something like that, or, you know, in a bad marriage, just like, you know, is your marriage bad? Is that what you're saying? Right? Because that's not a joke either. That's not nothing funny. Like, you know, bad marriage life, that's not funny. That's like, okay, my thing is, if something's broken, then you can fix it. Are you guys strong enough to get past what happened? And this is what the issue is. It doesn't seem that at this point you can, right? Because now it's mesh. And I think that people don't get the mess of it. There was a Love and Hip Hop. They were doing a counseling session, right? And they would do the counseling session with two people who were married. One was a black couple, the other one was a mixed couple, right? A mixed race couple. And the mixed race couple, they talked about how they got together. They talked about how his family cut him off because she was black and everything like that. And they've been married for years, right? They're up in their 70s or something like that. And I think a question was asked of, how do you guys still stay together or what have you? And they said, well, you have to keep people out of your business. Like, you can't, you know, your relationship, your ups and your downs, this is your struggle. Y'all together have to make sure that this works. Right. So even when it comes to your parents, like, you know, you can't run and be telling everybody. And then, you know, I think in a social media age, and it's something I you know, even though this is a YouTube channel and we'll be on Facebook, I think people on social media, they don't want to be valued as good moral people. They want attention, and people are doing anything for attention. Right. They get into a relationship for attention. They break up with somebody for attention. Everything is done for attention, right? But it's not done because, okay, I want to be responsible. I want to value. I want to build. And I think social media, it takes away people's mind from looking at. So like now when I'm on social media, if it's not something positive, I don't post. Right? You know, like Brandon's always doing a proverb or Ecclesiastes verse or something like that. You know, a lot of the stuff you post on side social media, I see your posts. You know what I mean? It's like asking questions.
I indulge with a little bit of the ratchetness.
Yeah, but it's a manageable amount, and it's not whatever. But there's people who, if they feel if they're not on social media gaining this level of attention,
right? I get what you're saying.
Right, it's like everything is about trying to get a level of attention.
Everybody wants their 15 minutes.
So fame to stretch it, and I think that's what you see on social media is everybody selfieing, and they taking the video about nothing and stuff like that. And, yeah, and it's become where that has become people's medium for them to get that level of attention, and they have to understand that social media to an extent is not real, right? You are not talking to a bunch of people. You're talking to a bunch of people that may look at you, that may look at your posts, or even if they some people sometimes I like stuff just because of who's posting it. I probably never read it. You know what I mean? Or it's a friend of mine that put a video out, whatever, and I just to support. But I think that sometimes we're over glamorize. We're trying to over glamorize ourselves with social media because it gives us this level of attention that you got friends, half of the friends you don't even know. You know what I mean? Business wise, that makes perfect sense. You have an audience, you have somebody a market that you can send stuff to. But then if you're doing it just to get that hit of dopamine. Oh, I got 5 likes on my joint, then what's the point? And I think people are becoming damaged by that. And, this is my opinion. I think your marriage shouldn't be on display. I think the first thing that happens, and Jada and Will probably can't help it because they're 2 celebrities and they're, he's a super mega star, she's a superstar, and they probably can't help that. But at the same time, what can you do to try your best to make sure that, like I think Jay and Beyonce, we know what Blue Ivy looked like, right? They finally gave some pictures of her and she whatever. But the little twins, I think they had twins, right? The next set, they didn't let their pictures be out there in the media for a while. I think there's something they just want to hold down, like, okay, this is private. This is private. This is, this is us. My babies, whatever. They're not ready for that yet. Let that happen. I think that's a mature route. Some people I probably wouldn't let you see my kids, period. But it happens when they're ready. But this is just my opinion. I just think that sometimes this too much. Like people are grasping that. And the media can do that to you. It can damage you in that fashion where you feel like you need to take everything to the media. It's what it is. They don't need to know everything. The public don't need to see everything. Some things need to just remain sacred to protect it. You know what I mean? Now, it's your business if you want to do it, but it comes with consequences.
But I think Will and Jada, or Will, I think they're addicted to the fame and the idea of being, at the forefront. Remember, at one point, Will was the go-to, the highest paid
grossing
action figure or actor, whatever you want to call him. That stopped. Now you got The Rock.
Right. He's the highest. Right.
So Will, and then he's been having some bad movies in between.
Right.
I think he had one, the good one with
Bad Boys.
Yeah, Bad Boys that just came out, and the one before that where he was locked up and they had all these misfits with the blonde hair.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that one turned out to that turned out. But before it used to be hit after hit after hit after hit. He wasn't that.
The Gemini Man didn't do well. Yeah,
didn't do well. So I think you're addicted. Then he got his YouTube channel going on.
Yeah,
she got Red Table Talk. The kids is doing crazy, doing stuff here and there. So I think like that fame, you over 50 now, so it's like you trying to uphold that kind of like wholesome image also, and try to pretend certain things.
Yeah, I think that's out the window now. I think
that's out the window. But
I
I believe that all of that was it's a facade.
Yeah,
like you really living this type of lifestyle, but you put on that you living over here, but you're really over there.
Right.
And I believe that that's. I think they still just together. I think Will he know that half is going to hurt his pockets.
Possibly.
Dr. Dre going through a divorce right now.
Yeah.
And if he's worth, they said he's worth about 800 million.
She's going to get
she's getting 400 million.
She wanted
to cut California law. She can get more than that. It's 60-40.
Oh, word?
Wow.
She could get 60%.
Wow.
What California law is that?
That's what the reports are saying. Yes, you can actually get up to 60%.
Because she can I think she wanted to get spousal support too.
But that would be all that would be figured into the.
That's how it gets to be 60-40.
It could be she could get up to 60.
Wow, so his shirt
There's
is,
a whole, of course, another subject, but
his shirt is gonna be off.
I think with Will and Jada, just the fact that whether that may have been scripted right before they did it, but the fact that they were able to quote simultaneously bad marriage for life,
right?
Is that's something that they already understood that they're going through.
Right.
So they already had in their mind, whether it was at that point or for a while now, that they're just gonna ride it out no matter what. I don't think that divorce or anything like that is the concern on either side. But I think at this point we're just gonna do what we gotta do, stay together, and.
But can they survive this?
I think they're already surviving it.
Okay.
And us sitting down here, we have our opinions. The world has their opinion, but they don't care about what we say because they've been living whatever they've been living for years.
Gotcha.
That's why I said that we might have a different response, but people out there don't even care about
what we have to say
or what they're going through. They're like, that's their business.
Right.
Mind your business. People go through that every day. They're upset with August once again because if you didn't say anything, nobody would ever know. So that's why they're upset with him. Right. Because they're blaming him for causing all of this controversy. Right. But like I said, that's viewing it from a different eye. But the world that we live in today with social media and everything, things are viewed differently than how we may view things growing up in an age where our celebrities, we don't know much about their personal lives.
Exactly.
And that's how they were able to be successful because we didn't know anything about their personal lives.
Right.
We just knew their career. We focused on their career. They gave us their careers, and that's what made them successful because they kept everything. So that's why, Jay-Z comes from that school of because he's going back to the 80s now in entertainment. Right. So he's coming from the era of I'm just here to entertain you. Don't worry about what I'm doing in my private life. Right. And it works out for both of them.
Right. Wish we can go on. We got to wrap up. But before we do, business segment. Yosh, I'm looking out. I didn't get my shirt. So Ben, I don't know if he's in the camera. He can show the shirt. He has a Be Strong and Courageous shirt. My brother Yosef. He can be found on Instagram and Facebook. I think you got to look up Be Strong and Courageous. A whole lot of shirts, hats, with the logo. Look for the logo. I think he has a line of them in different languages too.
Yeah, t-shirts, sweaters, hats.
T-shirts, hoodies, hats. Yosh is promoting it. He's doing it. And go out and get the merch. I'll probably have the link below when this tape airs. So we're going to be pushing it. A lot of stuff is coming to you soon. I got my line coming through too soon, but I'll save that for the next episode. So what you got going on, Ben? I know Homebodies is happening this week.
Yeah, every week. Every Saturday night, Homebodies on Zoom.
We'll put that link down there too.
So everybody could just go to Bassment Entertainment on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You get the details on how you can join us on Zoom every Saturday night. And this next event I'm gonna mention is gonna be, by the time you release this,
right?
Maybe after the fact. But people can go back and watch it. But I have an online event coming up called Black Poet Matters.
So we could still put the link down there too.
Yeah. So the link, so the video will still be up there, but that's taking place. People will be able to watch that on the Bassment Entertainment YouTube page. Black poets come together to speak about some of the issues that are happening today.
That's what's up.
This Sunday,
26th.
The 26th. But by the time this airs,
yeah.
By the time this airs, you won't be able to watch it live, but yeah, you'll be able to see the.
Nah, I won't cut the part out. We need some laughter sometimes. What's good? What's going on?
Well, I got some real powerful interviews coming up on my platform. Everybody know that that's what I do. Those who know that that's what I do, well, right. That's what I do. on my Uzziel Lewi channel on YouTube and also on my Facebook page. I usually post them on both parts. So I have some interviews lined up with some people, and also into some music stuff. Linked up with my brother. And when that happens, you know, y'all gonna see. Gonna try to do some music stuff together.
You a brother or another brother?
No, a brother.
Okay.
Y'all gonna see. I'm gonna show it to y'all, and we gonna all make a movement.
Okay.
You know, we're gonna make a movement together. So I got called into a meeting, and it looks good. It looks like
That's what's up.
some stuff is.
But you're not letting all of the cat out the bag right now.
No, I'm
You
not
gotta
letting
let-
all the cat.
gotta let some of the cat out.
I learned with experience. I've learned that sometimes you just let the process happen, and then when you see it happening, then you will see exactly what is it that's happening. So
Cool. So I know you gave your contact information. Same contact information for you, Uzziel Lewi.
Uzziel Lewi Facebook, Uzziel Lewi YouTube. I don't have a Instagram.
Use Beatverse.
Yeah, B in verse. You can reach me at B in verse on Instagram, but I don't have a personal Instagram.
Cool. So people, subscribe. Click the button down and like the video as well. Trying to do big things, trying to get up and make sure that we bring, you know, some just businesses or whatever's happening to the people outside of the topic that we're discussing. So it's a wrap. Another one down.
Also, if you're looking for professional photos, you can get in contact with Amos, AMOZ, Lewi, LEWI on Facebook. Professional photography, and I think his name is Amos Fire King.
What?
I believe Chief Moz. Chief Moz on Instagram. Cut that out. So on Instagram, Chief Moz. You can reach out to him if you need professional photographs taken, all types of events.
Cool. So another one down once again. Beat verse. We out. Peace.